All right, we are live. Let me get Instagram going over here. There we go. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Coaches Roundtable. I want to welcome our Facebook pages, Twitch, X, Instagram. What else? Let's see. iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and I am missing like a bunch of others. Like we are streaming all at Rumble. Like we're like I need to have a list now of every
All
where
the
we're
socials.
all the socials on where we're at. But anyway, yes, this is a coaches roundtable, and we were supposed to have. We're missing a coach. We're missing Coach Becky tonight. She had something she had to do, so it is just Coach Sly and I. So welcome, Sly.
Hello.
So we thought we would just run with it and have our. I just said, what did I say? It's not a round table, it's a line. We're
Come
at the
on.
coach line. This is it. Me, you, me. That's it. So, how was your Monday after the time change?
My cats don't know that the time changed.
Uh oh.
So they think that they should get fed at 4 a.m.
Oh no.
And they were already an hour early at 5 a.m.
Wonderful.
Yeah. The fall back don't really, I don't know. I mean, like, I guess you're a little off because you think it's an hour ahead of what you
Hmm.
really are supposed to be. But like overall, it doesn't really throw me too off.
Gotcha.
It doesn't. It's the spring forward that usually does me in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. We lose that hour in the spring, but we've gained an hour. But you know what? It still is disruptive, right?
Yeah, it can be because I mean, like, I'm hoping that it helps with my morning walk. And getting the light and stuff in with my morning walk and it not being dark out before I have to go to work and stuff. So I'm hoping it helps with that. But it's not so helpful in the evening.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I know,
Because
let's see.
technically it's my bedtime right now.
Well, I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah, an hour ago, my husband said to me, "Don't you have your" I was like, "Yeah, but it feels later because it is completely dark now. Like
Mhm.
normally the sun was setting and I could get the sunset in, and no, that's long gone. That happened like a while ago. I hate when it's going to be like 5 o'clock and dark.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a couple of more weeks where I'm hoping to get out of work before it turns dark, but probably not going to happen. But probably not going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Remember that one night that we had our meeting and you were at work still?
Yeah.
I got a tour of Coach Sly's work, so we were on a live meeting, so it was just her and I, so we had fun.
We did. And one of our other uh, members was with us this past week. And he was like, he felt like it was bring your friend to work week. He
That's
said,
funny. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So let me just ask a bizarre question as we're talking about the time change and so forth. Do you even on the weekends, because you're very good about it's, we'll be on BNC meetings, and you'll be like bedtime, bye, gone, like poof. Do you
I
do that all the time, even on weekends?
I do that all the time. I actually have uh changed my recovery meetings that I go to even. So I'm going to bed earlier every once in a while. If there's something going on, like this coming weekend, we have an event going on. So I'll probably stay up a little bit later on Saturday. But Friday I will be in bed when I at the same time, and Sunday again. You know, I found that it's just better to be consistent doing that, because even that one night when you're up way later, it can wreck you for a couple of days, really,
Mhm.
especially that next day. And I just, don't find um, the comfort in it. And not even the comfort, like, there's nothing going on out there that is worth my mental health most of the time.
Well,
And
and
that's
you
just
I
the
was
way I
gonna say
see it.
you do it for mental health, right? I mean, this is like
Yeah.
you're driving, like, go down that avenue. Like, why is that so important for your mental health?
Well, even Becky starts to say, like, if you don't have your sleep, right, then you have a hard time making good decisions.
Mhm.
You could hit a wall a lot easier, especially if you're tired. Then you're going to start making bad food choices. Then you're going to be irritable and angry and stuff. I just think that sleep, and if you go through a lot of places, like even Georgia will tell you that food is fundamental, right? That is a fundamental piece, but it's not the only piece. And in the treatment centers too, I tell them, they're like, well, some of the outpatients, like, well, I'm sleeping all the time.
Mhm.
That's all I'm doing right now. But they act like it's a negative thing. And I turn that around for them. They're like, well, all I'm doing is sleeping. Okay, well, you made it to group, right? You slept, but you made it to group. Let's, instead of like looking at it as a negative thing, think about how much sleep you didn't get over the time. And this rest, I like, instead of being lazy, it's rest and repair time, right? You
Mhm.
need the rest and repair. um and then once you get to the next point, then we can move on. But I just, I like all those memes and reels about, like, when people are talking about, like, yeah, when I was younger, my bedtime was going to be whenever I wanted. It just happens to be 9 p.m. you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really been a good uh, tool in my toolbox, really. Making sure that you have that and promoting it for people. I do not like the saying, or when somebody tells me, I'll sleep enough when I'm dead, you know,
Yeah.
or, those things, or you only live once. Yeah, I only live once. I want to be able to be present when I'm there. I don't want to be, you know, burning the candle at both ends anymore, and jacked up on caffeine so much that I can't, like,
Mhm.
that's not good either.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I think it's a rhythm, right? It's definitely a rhythm, and we know the importance of having that cortisol come down and the melatonin come up at night. It's time for bed. I mean, you and I both are, right now. I have my blue blockers on, right? Because I'm lit up right now. Like, I have two monitors and I'm on the device, and it's dark out, and these come on, and this is signaling to my brain, right, that it's time to start that cortisol to come down and the natural melatonin come up. And I mean, yeah, pretty much in a little when we end this, I'll be like ready for bed.
Yeah, I don't have those fancy glasses. And I think I don't know what happened to mine. I had some at one point, but I do have all my red lights on. And I've
Uh-huh.
even gotten, traded out a couple of my night light red
Mhm.
ones, and I got the little salt ones, night lights.
Oh,
Yeah.
neat.
So, um, I like that. But yeah, you can just turn it on. My little red lights are on.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. And I mean, that's something that as coaches, right, we don't just tell our clients, we practice this. I mean, and it's how are you at getting up in the mornings and getting the sunrise and doing the grounding and I know you were really good last winter.
I do better in the winter for grounding outside just because where I live. I live
Mhm.
in an apartment building um, and stuff. So it's, I just feel more comfortable on fresh, wet snow with my bare
Yeah.
feet. I did get a pair of other some leather shoes that I go out in and stuff. So that helps a lot. And getting the morning light. It's been a little difficult here the last few weeks, mainly because I used to get it when I go for my morning walk, but the sun, the time, the
Mhm.
seasons change. So it's been a little bit more difficult, but I still try the best that I can most days,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially with being so busy at work. So it's not
Yeah.
perfect, but I still make an effort.
Right. Right. We're not talking perfection here. I mean, I was struggling too before the time changed as well because when I got up to get ready for work, it's dark out. And I have to get ready. I have to turn lights on. And I can keep my blue blockers on to a degree until I'm ready to put my makeup on, and so I was struggling with getting that more. Well, this morning it was so funny when I woke up and I got up and I noticed that like daylight was coming through our blinds, and I'm like, "What? Oh, the time changed. I forgot." So I literally immediately went over and opened the door and stood in the doorway to get that sunrise. So,
Yeah.
and I also drive when I drive to work. My window is cracked, and I don't have glasses on, and I'm driving, and so I'm getting that morning light. So, am I perfect? Absolutely not. But like you, I do what I can when I can.
Yeah. And thanks to the powers of be of uh, mechanical problems with my car, I got a nice little walk to work this morning.
Ooh.
But it's just
Ooh.
around the corner. So, but it's like right there where you get the perfect sun part coming up and everything too. So
Doesn't
it
it put you in a good mood? It puts me in a good mood.
it does. It does. If um I that's why I started enjoying like my walk around before I go to work. I do um it's a it's ends up being about 20 takes about 20 minutes to walk around the whole block that I walk around. So
Oh, that's neat. So, what else you want to talk about in our little coaches roundtable tonight?
our coach's
Our
line,
line, our coaches
our
line.
coach's
Here,
line.
there, here. Yeah, that's it. Our yin and yang right now.
Yin and yang.
That's funny. Cracks me up. So we were also talking about the moon.
Yes, it's gonna be a full moon.
I know.
Tuesday or Wednesday. One app that somebody has says the fourth, the other app and Google says the fifth. But I guess it depends on. Yeah, I don't know what it depends on. It starts on the fourth, it ends on the fifth. I don't know, but the full moon
Well,
is coming. So I have actually started a 36-hour fast for the full moon. I know fasting keeps calling my name. It keeps being thrown in front of me. And I think that's how a lot of us kind of figure out what we should do and shouldn't do. And I haven't done a lot of fasting in quite a while. Um, I did, I guess, for a challenge that I did, but like, um, even then I ended up going to fat fasting, but I think I'm going to do a little bit more fasting. So, just like we show with the cycles and stuff,
mhm.
since I am a woman of a certain age, um,
We both are.
Since I'm a woman of a certain age and maturity, I don't have the other things that lets me know that it's a good time for that. So I usually do. I was doing for a while a nice fast around the full moon, and my sweet spot is I really love those 36.
Really?
Yeah, I just really love the 36-hour fast. I'm not for sure why 36, but that one just really, I think it's because it's, to me, it's easy. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, it's just done, 48, I feel a little longer. And I can knock out a 72, but it's just not as, I think it becomes more difficult. Some
it
people are
does.
like, oh, after this amount of time, I it's just like I'm doing that. And that's not what it is for me.
Yeah, you definitely have reached out to us when you try to push it further, and it's like you're like, "I'm hungry now, feed, food, food," and and Becky and I are like, "Okay, go ahead, like eat, time to break it."
Yeah, you gotta listen to your body for sure. And the stress, it was that different. I remember when I did that, it was because like the only reason I wanted to eat is because of I was stressed. And I
Yes,
can remember that. And I was
yes,
like, but it's not gonna fix anything I'm stressed over. But also maybe my body needed it to be able to think,
right.
like use the brain. And I know like hypocrisies and stuff used fasting before the guys went and did this, but I wasn't in that area. I hadn't practiced my fasting muscle enough to do that, be in
Hmm.
that spot right then and there. And it wasn't like stress from like going to class. It was, more personal, more, friends and life matters kinds of things.
Hmm.
I have found over this last fall season that I still may have a little bit of control issues, and that that can rise some anxiety when I can't control things. And I know that the only thing that I can control is myself. I do know that. But like when your friends are out there doing things that they shouldn't be and you're worried
Right,
for them.
right.
I do know at this level of being in recovery that I have experienced the stress and drain that I put on my own family members.
Hmm.
You know, um, I I think because sometimes when we're addicts, we just like, well, it's better off if we're not there than blah blah blah, and it doesn't work like that. I'm here to tell you, and so I've experienced some of that, a lot of that over this last year, actually. So,
Yeah. I actually did a 24-hour fast last month, my body told me it was time to eat. Like I got a headache,
mm,
and that was my first cue. It was like, and then so I did put some salt, and that didn't help. And then I took my blood sugar. I tested it. It was pretty low, and it was
mm,
like, okay, body's telling me we're breaking the fast. So I broke it at 24 hours. Fasting is not something I do hardly ever because of my issues with not being metabolically sound enough to
mm,
actually do that. And way back when I was really forcing it, I mean, I would gain weight. I would yeah, and my blood sugars would get worse and it was never my body was literally telling me like, okay, why are you fasting? Because you can't. And I think people don't realize your body tells you, right? I mean, your body told you when it was time to break your fast.
yes, and it's okay to do that. I mean, it's a goal. I never. Um, I think the only reason that I felt more pressure at that point is because I was trying to do a challenge.
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
doing some data for somebody, and um, it was that thing. Usually, I will don't have an issue with like cutting a fast short or switching gears from maybe a water to a fat fast, or adding some bone broth or whatever into there. Well, I don't add. A lot of people add bone broth. I don't actually like the bone broth. I just add regular like beef broth to it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's still the kettle fire. I still use them.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So, some people do fast around a full moon because of the heightened gravitational pull, right? There's a lot of energy intensity with that. Um, I know that sounds kind of woo into some people.
But how woo could it be if the moon literally can shift and bring in and out tides?
Right. Right.
So for us to think that it doesn't have some effect on us, that would be that wouldn't be very open minded about it. Um, so even like when people say they go crazy under the full moon,
Mhm.
or let's go howl at the moon kind of thing. Those are based on real things. And I even had one of our counselors in treatment says it's not even like the day of the full moon that you really have to worry or watch. It's the 3 days afterwards.
Mm.
So it does have a lot of power. It does have a lot of proven power by scientists that may be. So we would be kind of silly not to think that it couldn't affect us in general.
Right. Well, I mean, if you hear hospitals talk about how many babies are born during a full moon. My child was born. It was a full moon. Um, she came a day early than she was supposed to, and it was a full moon when she was born 1,000 years ago.
A thousand. It wasn't 1,000 years ago.
Well, I don't know. Tell this gray hair here what's what the deal is. So you've started your fast then. You're fasting now.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I started at lunchtime today.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. So you're into it.
Yeah, I started at lunchtime today, and I'll go till then. And um, even a lot of cultures do fasting around the full moon,
Mhm.
especially and around here they have ceremonies for women, um, women only for
Mhm.
the full moon. They refer to when women are on their cycles as them being on their moon.
Mhm.
So that's whiskey.
That is your kitty. I think that's
Yes,
good.
and my naughty kitty. Um, but so it there is something to it. There has to
Yeah.
be something to it. And I'm yeah, I get back into rhythm. I like the getting back into rhythm kind of thing. And our Becky Niles, she keeps teasing with the lunar bites here and there. And one day she's gonna just let it all loose for us. And I
She
can't
is.
wait for that day.
She is. We're gonna guilt her into finishing it, and what that'll be is it'll be something in the BNC community. It'll be something extra, right? We'll
Yeah.
be able to sign up and as all good programs, there'll probably be a nominal fee for it. And sometimes I kind of think that it makes people more accountable. And you and I've had that conversation because I was trying to coach a friend of mine, and it didn't go too good because I was just doing it for nothing. And so there was no skin in the game, right?
Yeah. You know, there's certain, I mean, like, there's always cases of where maybe, I mean, like, I know people, they just can't afford it, right?
Sure.
And stuff like that. And that's fine. And usually find something to exchange is the way that I go about it. And even people that are close to me, I don't necessarily charge them a fee, but maybe they pay me in meat, or do something of that nature just so that they really take hold of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like you said, they don't have no skin in the game. They're not, there are some people that pay for stuff and still not do it also.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not always the best way to, it's on a marker, but for the most part, people at least give a little bit more effort if they would um, put something towards it, regardless of what it costs, um, and get something out of it. Okay.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
So, go ahead.
I know I said yeah, but yeah, the master classes that we've done in the
Hmm.
past, um, my favorite one really was the fat fasting. So,
Well, there's a reason, right? I mean,
yeah.
because what does fat do to somebody that has addiction, mental health, and so forth?
Well, I mean, it simplifies things first of all, right? Maybe I can't fat fast. Maybe I shouldn't be or fasting, at the time or whatever. Maybe the stressors are too high, but it also simplifies things enough to really help with the ketosis, right? And get into fat adapted. I mean, those are some benefits that you can get with those, along with, the other biomarkers, but just like brain power. Um, it, I've heard some discussion about all the different fastings and pros and cons out of it. Um, Fat fasting, maybe not so much for weight loss,
Right?
um, but maybe for other biomarkers of better health, especially mental health,
Right.
and uh, I know that it did wonders for me. You know, uh, I remember the first time I ever heard somebody say it. It came out of a Snapchat from one of my friends, and she didn't even know what she was talking about, really.
Hmm.
She knew about fasting. She was like that. And I was like, there's got to be something into that. And then I got on a platform, and there was Becky being called the Fat Queen. And I was like, oh, there is.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there is some more to do with this. And it's uh, like, I lived off of high fat, way high fat, extremely high fat, more fat than I knew I was doing. Uh, Carnivore pancakes for like a good 6 months,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it got my mental health to a place of where it made life so easy. I was in a good place. Maybe I need to go back to that for a while. Maybe I do need to go back to some basics.
Well, I mean, basics are, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a reset, right?
No, no, there's not.
I mean, it's a tool in our tool belt.
Yes, it is. And that it's one of the things that they tell you in recovery too. Like, we've
Hmm.
had a whole theme convention called Back to the Basics. Just a nice reset where, yeah, I'm going to tell you, that it's been a struggle this fall, mental health wise, for me. Mainly because, like I said, I found out I have control issues still, and I'm a fixer. And at work, I'm used to being able to fix the problems and control the problems and smooth them out, know what happened, and it's gone. it's gone. That's not been the case this year. Um, and that can
Yeah.
be a little stressful, you know, and things happen. I mean, even to the point that it was hard for me to admit, but I went back on one of my medications, temporarily. Um, but I knew it was time, though, that was listening to where I was at. And, even though the food can help and everything else, listening to your body and knowing when it is, it's is a good thing, you know.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And I think people, myself, I'm going to throw myself in there. I'll throw you in there. I'll throw Becky in there. I'll throw us all in there. I think we lose sight of the body really is telling us what's going on. We just aren't listening.
Yeah, we try, and then we try to fight it, and then you're
Hmm.
like, okay, well, maybe I'm done fighting this. Maybe I should,
Right.
it's okay. It's okay.
Right. I mean, I know that I helped tank my thyroid and hormones from being militant carnivore. And then having to reintroduce like whole foods w- has been a process, right? Because I had been militant carnivore for like what, 2.5 years. And I still slip so easy into only eating meat. And having to like last night we got home and I was roasting vegetables so I could take them to work with me to add to my and I made chicken salad um that instead of using mayonnaise I used uh yogurt, A2 yogurt. So I could have just ate the yogurt. Like I could have, or the chicken salad. Like it was like I had to eat the vegetables today. Like it was like I have to add the vet because my hormones and thyroid it needs it. It definitely causes imbalances and it can metabolic resistance. Like it's again, it's a learning process and I always people who um they do something for and no one thing is bad, right? Like if you do I think carnivore is a tool in the toolbox. I think keto is a tool in the toolbox. I think high fat, adequate protein is a tool in the toolbox. Whole foods, seasonal foods, you know, they're all tools in the toolbox. But when you start going that one way and that one mindset only, you start to do a disservice.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to find what works for them
Mhm.
and do that. Like like for your instance, your situation, you prescribed yourself this is what works for you, this is what your body needs and stuff. For me, it's more simpler in my head to do. I mean, like I will have some roasted Brussels sprouts and some sweet potato here
Mhm.
and there. But I mean, like, I don't want to put myself in the box anymore. I eat ketogenic, and that can mean a lot of different things, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, the, that means that my body is in ketosis and is burning fat for fuel. But what that actually is can be very dependent on each and every person. And,
Correct.
you know, somebody may have to have 10 carbs a day in order to keep there. Somebody can eat up to maybe 50, and an
Mhm.
athlete could maybe even eat up to 100 and still be in ketosis and in, eating ketogenically and burning fat for fuel. And why are we doing this? You have medical problems, right, that you're dealing with, and that's why it's thyroid and stuff. I do what I do because I'm trying to treat my mental health.
Mhm.
So finding that, but actually, and that's what I tell the guys and the girls um, at treatment is like, start with whole foods.
Mhm.
Start with eating things that don't have a label on it. Do you know they asked me what that was once?
Really?
I said anything that doesn't have a label. What does
Yeah.
that mean? Anything. And then if you're going to, and if you're going, and I wish you wouldn't, but if you're going to eat something that has ingredients in it, make sure it has five or less, and make sure you know and can read every ingredient on there. And when you read it, you know what it is.
Yeah.
And so that's where I start them off with, because it's a little bit simpler, right?
Mhm. Mhm. I think too, one of the things that I'm seeing a trend with is people are eating carbs, right? But people don't know what carbs are. Carbs are not processed food,
Right.
right?
They're not. And I think when some people see that people are putting carbs back into their diet, they're just like,
Mhm.
they think that it's this, that you're sitting eating donuts.
Right.
I've put carbs back into my diet because of X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
So they just vision you sitting over there eating donuts. But that's not what you do or doing.
Right, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that I've been doing is, oh my gosh, gasp! I've been eating a white potato, um, but I know gasp, and, but I actually bake it and then I cut it up and put it in the refrigerator and then let the starchiness, that helps with the starch, letting it set. So I've been doing that. But that's, sweet potato squash. Somebody in our BNC community this week, she said, "Oh, I've been eating beets," and I'm like, "Good for you."
I love right at this time. Well, we're just about past it. We're about
Hmm.
past the uh, harvesting season. Um, I love cucumbers and tomatoes out of people gardens right now. Cucumber salad, that's one of my favorites. And I go through a phase, and I had my share of it, and now I'm ready to be done with it. It's finding what works for you and stuff, and where you're at, and maybe it's eating seasonally, maybe you add them in here and there, but like it, it's not um doesn't have to be just like so dogma about what you don't have to be like, that saying, you are what you eat.
Hmm.
You don't really technically have to be that. You don't have to label yourself what you are. Like, people ask me, I like, if I had to put myself in a box, if I put myself in a box, I would probably label myself as ketovore, right?
Yeah.
If I had to put myself in a box. But, people, not everybody, not every person that you interact with, you say that to, that's not around our lifestyles, is going to know what that even means, right?
Right. Right.
So, and then also, with where my passion is, and that's helping people with mental health and addiction. uh, you know, the ketogenic lifestyle is what we know, what we have facts about healing the brain. And that's one of the things I like to show, this video that Dr. Boz has, and it shows brain scans, and it shows the brain on different drugs, and it even shows a diabetic brain and stuff. But you know, she always says, when somebody asks her, she says the ketogenic diet. And I know she says that because it's the only thing that's proven, right? That's the only thing we know for sure that's been studied long term for healing the brain because of epilepsy. Um, but, and so if you have a severe mental health issue, that's probably where I'm going to start somebody, right? If you have schizophrenia, if you have bipolar 2, 1 something in that range. That's probably where we're going to start at. If you have depression, anxiety, a little bit milder forms of mental health, I'm probably just going to start people on a whole foods diet and see where we need to go from there. Georgia Ede, I love her approach. She calls them the quiet diets, and she has the quiet paleo, she has quiet keto, and she has quiet carnivore. So, there's a range of places that people can go with it.
Absolutely. And wouldn't you say that would go in also with dementia and Alzheimer's as well?
Absolutely. I think for prevention, probably whole foods. If you are already showing signs of it, I would say more into the keto, because you're trying to repair that brain. I have a client, and um, he has the diabetes, and but he came to me mainly because dementia runs in the family, and his dad had it when his dad died and everything. And when he doesn't want to listen, or he wants to go run amok or give into temptation, I was like, listen, I just want you to be able to walk out this door and find your car. Like, remember, that's your goal. That every time you leave a building, you're able to find your car. I think sometimes you have to give that scenario and stuff too, because, like, what does dementia mean really?
Yeah.
You know, um, what does being manic bipolar really mean? Like, what can we do to be better with that?
Mhm.
You know, one of the ladies that I helped, from the cities, you know, she can hear her own voice in her head.
Mm.
And, that was her goal. I mean, she wanted to lose weight and stuff, and it's not been happening. But when she can hear her own voice in her head instead of hearing the other voices in her head, that's belief enough that sometimes sanity over vanity, you know, is there. Some of her medications will probably keep her where she's at with her weight. She can't obviously come off completely, but she's been able to titrate down to a lesser dose, which hopefully will help with eventually getting some of the weight off that she wants. So it's a broad spectrum, and everybody's different.
Yeah, I know that, and I've repeated this 1,000 times, but I'm going to say it again for our audience. So the first time I met Sly, she was doing the mental health. It was one of the first mental health meetings that she did, and I joined for support. I'm a coach. She's a coach. I'm joining, and she does this quiz and wanted to know if we were addicts. And of course, in my head, I'm going, well, I ain't no addict. I don't drink, and I don't do drugs. I'm not an addict. And all of a sudden, I'm going, yep, yep, yep. I'm a food addict.
Yeah. Addiction comes in many forms.
Mhm,
Sometimes people have a harsher form. Their outlet, drugs, alcohol, will
mhm,
uh, show some pretty hard and consequences a lot quicker than other outlets will, right? I mean, maybe gambling can show up real quick, like even faster than drugs and alcohol can. Um, but like the food thing, it's so normalized anymore, of eating these franken foods, eating these drug foods, as I like to call them. It's so normalized that we don't even think twice about it. It's like, until you're there, until you see it. And I've seen it. Like, I've seen it in the pain in people's faces.
mm,
Um, I seen it, the desperation. I seen it about a week ago, and my heart just like cried. One of the ladies, she's doing all these things, but like the food noise is so loud in her head, and the desperation to stop is so there that it it's defeating almost, especially if you know stopped using other things and you've gone to something else. And a lot of addicts like, I don't want another thing. I don't want another thing. But here's the ticker. It's not another thing,
Right.
right? It's not another thing. It's the same thing. It's the same brain. It's the same addiction. It's just a different outlet for you.
Mhm.
Some people come in from doing that, and they shopping, relationships, screen scrolling, binging this or that, the gym,
Oh yeah,
you
you were just talking about that.
those kinds of things. Addiction is so broad that, like, people that, unless you don't know, right? Unless
Right.
you don't know, we just have to take a harder look at it, right? Because we had an addiction. Our outlet just happened to land you in some consequences where they're like, you're going to go look at yourself and you're going to fix everything that's wrong with you. Whereas if we have a food addiction,
Right.
nobody's going to tell us to go do that, right?
Right.
Unless you show up in a 12-step meeting, and then they might, but there's nobody that's going to make you go do that. Or if you have screens or uh, gaming, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
you're not likely going to end up in some of the places that people have that are doing street drugs or drinking and driving and stuff do. So it's kind of like a blessing and a curse all at the same time. Like,
Well, don't you see people replace one addiction for a different, like they move on to different addictions.
oh yeah, it's like if you don't do anything, you can sit and watch somebody play whack-a-mole
Yeah.
with the different outlets that they could acquire. Um, like I said, it could be shopping, it could be relationships, it could be screens, it could be obsession about anything. I know mine was education myself on things. You can become obsessive about a lot of things. I've got so many books that I have never read. But like, there's one gentleman, and he says that we may be able to get rid of the compulsion, but maybe not always the obsession, but maybe using the obsession in healthier ways.
Ooh, I like that.
Like, I can become obsessed, or do something positive, like what I have done, like educating myself, and learning more about what's going on, but not to a point where I can't function in other parts of life, that kind of thing. But it is, and I still think, and then bringing it back to the food,
Mhm.
I I I really think that, a lot of people want to say the gateway drug is marijuana,
Mhm.
the devil's lettuce. I disagree. I think the gateway drug is sugar.
Ah.
I think the gateway drug is sugar. I think that once it was started, because I can remember that in some of the foods and stuff, I had the same behavior as a kid with food, but I think it opens up those pathways. And then when the drugs or the other outlets are introduced, depending on that person, it just is easier to take hold, you know, and that other thing go off with it.
So I'm gonna do a shameless plug now. So before me is an author, Sly. So she co-wrote a book. Do you want to tell our audience about that?
Sure, sure. So me and one of my, she was actually one of my coaching clients. And Sophia, she lives in Switzerland. So you can be anywhere in the world and connect with people, right?
Yep.
And she was one of my clients, and she's actually a scientist, uh, has her doctorate, and she came to me because she knows how keto works, right? She
Mhm.
knows the science behind it. She's even worked in the field of like helping with the Luma and different things like that. She didn't know about addiction.
Uh-huh.
And so I taught her about addiction, and we were coming to the end of a year and a half long stint with each other. And she's like, "What are you going to do?" I said, "Well, I have this dream of having a 12-step keto program
Mhm.
where I really think it's important to combine the 12 steps, the recovery part, because I think we need the recovery, but also while we're working on ourselves and looking at that thing, we're healing the brain." Um, and she's like, "Let's do it." So we did write a 12-step keto program, and it's called 12 Step Keto. We have the digital version out on Amazon right now. We're working on getting the physical copies to be able to order from Amazon. And then hopefully by January or around January, the uh, online group will be available. And we will be looking for our founding people. So we will take in our first classes. Those people will be I, I think we're founding, that'll be free. They will be our founding group, our first run group, our core group. I think we have a different word for it than founding, but that's the word I'm using today. uh, and we will go through the 12 steps. There are our own twist on them. We try to keep the classic style of them, but we are more of a instead of spiritually based, we're purposely based, looking for more of a, I don't want to say we left out the god word, but just looking for something greater than ourselves. We wanted to make sure that it was open for everybody and that we didn't use any terminology that scare anybody away. So
Absolutely. So what is
um,
it called?
12-step keto.
12-step keto. So you can find the digital version on Amazon.
The digital version is available on Amazon, and I think it's like $1.99 or $2.99. It's not like it's $1,000 or anything. We also want to make it very accessible for people, to at least grab a hold of the book, and the printed copy will be probably pretty close to cost also. Um, the only reason we didn't want, it's just like what we were talking earlier. The only reason we didn't make the digital copy free is
Right.
because we want you to find that value for it. Also, we were looking for people to review the book and not just but people that have read the book and reviewed it, and not just had a free version and that are wanting to look at it, not just um, oh, it's there. Let's just, you know, grab it. So,
I love it. I love it. I know it's so exciting. I want a signed copy when it gets printed. I'm just saying.
all the printed copies are in Switzerland right now, and I can't even get one myself because all the tariffs and how much it costs to ship something here.
You can't even get your own book. I love it.
No, but it has been great. It has been, I'm going to tell you, it's been a project that's taken longer than what I thought it was going to, but it's been worth it all the way. Um, I think there's all kinds of paths to recovery. I really do. I think anybody, if you find the way, go with it. But I do believe that this sets up people for longer term recovery, when we're healing the brain, um, and we're making it so that you can be present in your recovery. You're not going through decision fatigue. You're out of the brain fog, and like we said, keto's proven to do that. Whole foods can do that too. But if we're going to heal the brain, keto is the way.
I love that. I always learn something from you. I am blessed to know you for sure. You guys can join the BNC community, and let me actually put the information here on the screen. Might help if I find the right one. There we go. There we go. So you can go to www.bnccommunity.com, use the code free, and you can join for free. And Coach Sly has the mental health meeting on Wednesday evenings at
7.
7 p.m. Central, right? Yep. So you can jump in, and maybe she'll do the quiz for everyone that joins. Like I don't have an addiction, and you'll find out you do. So
And it doesn't have to be a bad thing.
no,
Having it's just, having that knowledge is very powerful, because once you know something, that it's just not your willpower or shortcoming or whatever, you can do something about it
yes, absolutely.
and
And
take
I mean,
responsibility for your recovery.
I quizzed you how many times I've quizzed you on uh, what is food noise? Tell me about food noise. I want to understand food noise, right? Because I don't think I have food noise. So, um, even though I'm on a GLP-1, I'm on it for my my diabetes. But a lot of people take it and they talk about that food noise going away, and it's like, what is that? Because I don't. I haven't felt that. I don't. So I'm guessing I don't have food noise. Um, but I still learned a lot from you over that.
Yeah, it's you can tell, like, when somebody says they have it and you listen to them, it and what they're saying, it is, people, unless you've heard it, you can empathize with it. You may not
Mhm.
understand it, but like, it's it's daunting, and it's just as powerful as they, I don't want to dismean somebody that's out. Well, I
Mhm.
can say these things because I was one of those people. It's just as powerful as a draw as if you were out there doing street drugs for somebody. It's just as diminishing to the soul and heart, when people are out there doing that. So, you know, it, don't, if you have these issues or you think you might, don't feel like you're alone, and reach out, and there's people here that can help and understand, and communicate with you, and be in a community where they understand what you're saying. It's very important to
Very
find a
important.
community. Yep.
Absolutely. So we are at the top of the hour already. Can you believe
This
it's
is
been an
way past
hour?
my
And it's
bedtime.
our both our bedtimes, yeah. So we need to wrap it up. So Coach Sherri and Coach Sly can go to bed. So
Night, night.
anyway, wanted to thank everyone on our Facebook pages and Twitch and Rumble and X and
All the
YouTube
socials.
and yeah, Instagram and on and on and on. But Thank you guys so much for attending. So don't forget, Coach Sly was going to join us every month, the first Monday of the month. So we'll see her back here in December. So but if you need to see her sooner, definitely join the BNC community, and on Wednesday nights you can join her meetings as well. Coach Sly, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
And bye, everybody. Have a good Monday.